Hey, beautiful co-creator, welcome. So in this video, I'm going to share my best tips on how to get out of the spiritual closet. So a lot of times when people have some type of spiritual awakening or wake up to their spiritual gifts, they go through a phase where they feel a lot of resistance to share those gifts and share their truth with other people. And that is a really hard time for most people, and it could be a little bit easier. And it's also a shame because you can't really slow down your spiritual awakening, because we are souls having a human experience. We are the physical manifestation of consciousness. So your soul, your consciousness is at the steering wheel of your journey on earth. So if you wake up to the fact that you are a soul or you have the spiritual abilities, then a lot of the time you have to let go of your ego. And that's kind of why you are manifesting resistance, because resistance is really a thing of the ego. The soul doesn't have any resistance. It's just love. It's pure, a state of pure being. So in order to let go of these parts of your ego, you basically manifest resistance in other people so you can heal it. So that's the biggest reason why you experience resistance. Of course, there are a lot of your own thoughts and beliefs behind that, and I'm going to walk you through some of those thoughts and beliefs. So only the ego, only people who are still in their human identity, so they are still in their ego, experience judgments towards other people who are in their spiritual journey. But only your ego experiences the pain that causes that judgment. So it's really important to see, is this their ego, is this my ego? So, and the ego is the part in people that has that resistance, both on the side of the other person as on your side. So why does the ego has that? Well, the ego is the part of the human being that feels separate from source, separate from God, and separate from each other. So I see myself as a human being, if I'm still in my human identity, and I see someone who appears to be outside of myself, separate from myself, as a different human being. That's really the perspective of the ego. So if you shift to consciousness identity, or you shift from living from your soul, there's no place for the ego anymore. The ego kind of disappears, but it's the ego's job to survive, it's survival of the fittest. That's the ego's job. And there's, in the new era, there's no space for the ego. So slowly it's saying goodbye. But until then, it could really be fighting back to stay alive. So it's really not about the other people, because they are just an expression of consciousness, just like you and me, but they are still in their ego identity, and that doesn't make them any less or more, it's just different. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that later on. So, and also think about where you are, because, for example, I had my first spiritual awakening 20 years ago, and it was also difficult for me to share about my new thoughts and beliefs about how we create our reality. And I believed in law of attraction, and I believed in the self healing ability of our own bodies. And I had a couple of more periods in my life that I I had to let go of pieces of my ego that were in need of validation, or that it was kind of hard for me to step out of the closet. You know, when I started my blog, it was really hard for me to share my journey. I had to came out of the closet when it came to my past addictions. I came out of the closet with sharing about star seeds or about twin flames, and especially I worked at the government, and my ex-husband also had a government job. And when I was there and they talked about it, or talked about what I did as a spiritual teacher or law of attraction teacher, that kind of uh, uh, um, triggered my ego, you know. But that's okay, because if you get triggered, that's where you know you still need some healing, and you need to give yourself some love, and you are keeping some illusions around that you can release, because it's not who you really are. You are love, you know. So everything that's basically a limitation is not who you really are. So know that, and these are the best tips that will help you to come out of your spiritual closet, whether it's believing in God, believing in the law of attraction, believing in star seeds, or your spiritual gifts, or believing in twin flames, or feeling that you are a twin flame, being on the twin flame journey. My friend Emma and I are going to give a program about twin flames. So if you are on the journey and you are experiencing difficulties, you know, talking with other people about your journey or finding your way, then you can see if that program resonates. I will put the link under the video. Okay, so the first tip is trust yourself. Your spiritual awakening is really about connecting with your own intuition. So I can tell you this: what you are feeling is right. You are not wrong. What you're feeling is real. It's almost always real. But when you are just waking up, it's your ego has a hard time with it, and you are doubting yourself, you know. So but it's all real. Everything you are feeling, it's real, because you are creating your reality. So you are waking up to the fact that there is so much more than you can see. So start trusting yourself. And the second step, connect with like-minded people. Yeah, so don't feel the need to convince other people about how you perceive reality. And that's the third step: give other people the space to follow their own journey. You don't need to convince anyone. Some people are just not ready, and it's not about them, because if you have the need to be validated in your spiritual journey, that's your own ego. So you have to release those people. You have to release your own, heal your own resistance, heal your own pain towards them, and thank them for being that mirror for you. And thank them, you know, you don't have to do that out loud, of course, but you can do that in your own head. And the fourth step is learn the difference between ego and soul, and of course also your own ego, because every time you judge people for being judgmental, that's your own ego. You know, it's really, we are an expression of the same consciousness. The people you are judging, they are you. They are a part of you, you know, they are part of the same consciousness. And they are just showing up to mirror you where you are not yet in alignment with your true self. And your true self is love, is your soul, is God consciousness. So they are just being a mirror. They literally can't show up any other way. And that's the fifth step. Know that you didn't do anything wrong, but they didn't do anything wrong either, because guilt doesn't exist. God didn't create guilt. You know, the ego creates guilt. So if you are feeling guilty or shameful or fearful, or towards yourself or towards other people, other selves, that's always a lie. And they are just showing up as a mirror of your own consciousness to show you you need some healing here. You need to give yourself some more love here. You need to connect to the truth of who you really are on this level. So, and of course, feel your feelings. I'm not going to explain now how to shift through these feelings, but I have a free course on my website, manifestmagically.com/ultimate. I think that's, but I will also share the link. And I teach you in that free program, the Ultimate Manifesting Program, how to shift through those blocks towards other people. I will teach you a little bit more about how everyone is a manifestation of the same consciousness. So I won't be sharing that here. Okay, so, and the sixth tip is the reason you are hiding are all illusions. So most of the time people are fearful they might get rejected, or people judge them, or they are fearful that they hurt other people by sharing their truth or whatever. But those are all illusions. You know, the only real thing is love. So what are they mirroring you? If people are judging you and you have resistance around it, it means you are judging yourself somewhere, you know. And a lot of people who just wake up are confused. They think, is this real? What do people think about me? How can I live my life and be spiritual? How do I combine these things? If you are waking up to your spiritual gifts, it's like, can I make money doing this? There are a lot of collective judgments around making money with spiritual gifts and talents. There's a lot of fear around owning your spiritual gifts, or feeling all the things, or having visions, or those kind of things. So and what we do is we create our reality by projecting our energy outwards. So by projecting your fear and your doubt and your own judgments outwards, they have to mirror that. So don't blame them. You can of course feel whatever it is you're feeling, but heal it within yourself. But it's all an illusion. It's not real. There's no there is no shame or guilt or fear. There's only, and they aren't really doing anything, because humans aren't really creating. Consciousness is creating through us. You know, we're a projection of that consciousness. So what is really going on is that you are offering a certain vibration, and they are mirroring it. So there's no guilt, but there's only cause and effect. So that's a real thing. You are projecting a vibration and people are mirroring it. So if you can handle whatever is being presented, and you can receive whatever is presenting, and then you can shift it and you can create something new. And if you are how do you say that, willing to commit to yourself and standing behind yourself and serving yourself, then other people will mirror it. And if somewhere people mirror or show you judgment, it doesn't really matter, you know. It doesn't affect you, because you stand behind your own truth. And it is, that's the eighth point. I'm going to put that before the seventh point. But there's so much value in your spiritual awakening. There's so much value in your spiritual gifts. The world really needs love and healing and compassion, and the ego doesn't give that. So be compassionate towards people who are still in their human consciousness. It's really hard to be there. I was there too, you know, 20 years ago, and after my spiritual awakenings, still lots of the time, and it's really hard to be there. and the ego really it can't help itself. It has to judge the soul, because if the soul if the ego gives away its power, it's gone, it's erased. And the ego only knows one thing, and it's survival, survival, survival. And only if it gets too painful, or it will surrender, or if it has a really good reason to surrender. But that's why I also say get to know your ego, because then you can correct your own ego, and it will disappear, because it knows it doesn't. I can't get anything done here anymore. You know, it just fades away. And that's also with the judgmental people or the critical people in your life. If you show up as an expression of who you really are, as love and compassion, they start either changing or falling out of your awareness. It's really true. I posted something on my Facebook timeline in Dutch about a touchy subject, and also someone said, well, the comments underneath your underneath your post aren't really presentable. How do you say that? A representation. I hope you understand what I mean. From what people generally think. You are in quite a bubble here. And I thought, yeah, I am, because I aligned with those people, so they show up in my life, and I'm really thankful for it. Okay, so the last one, and I already kind of shared this, but release the need for validation. You are good enough. You know, Source wants you to be the expression of who you really are. You are already loved. You are created from a place of love. God wants to experience life through you, and through your gifts, and through your vision, and through your mission, and through who you really are. So let that energy flow through you, and be who you are. Love yourself, and give yourself permission to be who you are. Be gentle with yourself. Just do it step by step by step. Get some good guidance, you know, and get some people around you who support you, and work from there. So you have nothing to prove. You don't have to convince people about your journey or your vision, because if you are convincing people, you are actually saying, I don't believe, or that what I say is true, or I'm not standing firm behind myself, and I need your validation, or I need you to change in order for me to be happy. And that's your own ego, you know. So let that go. Convince yourself. Seek validation within yourself and from Source. And the people who validate you will show up, but not because you need them, but because they can't show up any other way. They have to mirror you, because you are projecting that into your physical reality. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I see you soon. Bye bye.